So someone in the hallway was just saying that this is your sit down, this is your first interview since you joined the Lakers. And I have to be honest, it caught my ear. Lakers forward LeBron James still sounds. What do you think when you hear that?
No, it still sounds kind of weird, but it's definitely it feels good. It feels good, and I'm looking forward to it.
How hard was your decision to leave? Because we're sitting here in this school that I know you're opening this in Akron, Ohio. It means so much to you. You've talked about how much Ohio means to you, how much Cleveland, the Cavaliers, has meant to you. How tough a call was this?
No, it's kind of a bittersweet, a moment right now. Sitting here, in my school that I'm opening, around these kids, around this community, and then at the same time, making the switch to the other coast, being a part of, the Lakers now. So, it's always a tough decision when you leave home or you leave an organization that you've been with for multiple years. The toughest, to leave the first time I left, when I left Miami, leaving Cleveland once again, definitely tough, but, it's a decision that, was best for me and my family, and we're all, I think both sides feel great and appreciative of the moments and the time that we had spent together.
You announced it quicker this time than you had with your free agency moves in the past. Is that reflective of the fact that you kind of reached that peace and decision quicker?
Absolutely. I'm just at a point where I know what I want, what I like, and my family played a huge part of that. So, no need for the dramatics or the drawn-out conclusion of things. Just get right to it.
All right, so we're sitting here in this school. This is a co-production between your foundation and the Akron Public School District. Public school for at-risk kids.
Yes.
You're a guy who has won 3 NBA titles, 4 MVPs, and yet you will tell anyone who listens that opening this school today is one of the greatest moments, greater than any of those. And I got tape of you in Game 7 of the NBA Finals, so do you mean it?
I do mean it. I can sit here and be a loss of words, which I am now. Just, it's my first time here, walking these hallways and seeing, when I was driving here, just the streets that I walked, the stores, and some of the stores are still up when I was growing up. To be sitting here, with, my foundation, who was unbelievable, and, first shout out and great credit to Michelle Campbell. She's the right hand to all of this. And then to the Akron Public School System, who allowed us to even do something like this. It's a moment that I'll never forget, and hopefully, the kids, starting with the 240 kids that we have going in here right now, starting today, will never forget it either.
So much of the features of these schools were built around your experience and what you would have wanted or you would have needed when you were that age. So tell me what it was like to be one of those kids. What did you walk around thinking was possible for you, was not possible for you?
You didn't know what was possible for you because you kind of always paid attention to the statistics, and and growing up in the inner city, the numbers are always stacked up against you, so you didn't really know what was possible. I think what happened for me is that I got some mentors and little league coaches and some teachers that I kind of started to believe in, and they started to make my dreams feel like they could actually become a reality. So, like I said, we're starting with 240 kids, 120 in third grade, 120 in fourth grade, and I believe that's where it kind of all started. And that's where it started for me. In the fourth grade, I missed 80 days of school, and that following year, I met a family in the Walker family, and they had a support system. I met some little league coaches playing basketball and football, and the following year, I didn't miss one day of school. So I feel like this is the point where, we can kind of get into the minds of the kids to let them know that we're here for them. And I think that's what kids ultimately want. They just want someone to feel like someone care about them, and that's what we're trying to do here.
People hear that number, but I'm not sure they can really feel what that was like. First of all, I should say that 80-plus days of school, a school year only has about 180 days normally.
Right.
So that's for one thing.
Right.
But that was a year that you and your mom didn't have a permanent home.
Right.
You were kind of moving from place to place, people helping you out with a place to sleep, with food.
Yep.
What is that, again, actually like for a kid? Because that environment to then try to go to school and learn?
It was challenging. It was mentally challenging, and you just sometimes you think about a kid being in the third grade at that age, being 8 and 7 years old, or in the fourth grade, having responsibility or having stress. No kid at 8 and 9 should have stress. And I was one of those kids, so I know exactly what these kids today are going through being a part of this. So, being I was going to a school on the other side of town, but I was living with a family on the complete opposite side of town. So there was no way that I could even get to the school to even participate. We didn't have a car. The city bus didn't come to where I was living. But anytime I would show up to school, it's weird. The teachers would always tell my mom that when he shows up, he's one of the best students that we have. We just hope that he can show up more.
Right.
And we just couldn't do it at that point in time. And so I know exactly what a lot of these kids are going through.
You've said that line of, hey, I could have been a statistic.
Absolutely.
And you weren't because, as you said, you're good at basketball. And people who were around basketball took an interest in you and supported you. What do you think would have happened to you if you had been a few inches shorter or not genetic,
You know what the thing is, a lot of people, kind of hear the story of, where you were good at basketball, so a lot of people helped you. I didn't start playing basketball actually until the 5th grade. I didn't play organized basketball until the 5th grade. So, I started getting the help, 3rd and 4th grade,
right.
Going into my 5th grade. And that's when, I met the Walker family. And that was the first year that I played Little League football. And I played Little League football before basketball. So, and then the mentorship started there, from Frank Walker to, Bruce Kelker, a guy by the name of Willie Earl. And then I met Coach Drew Joyce and the list goes on. And, if it wasn't for like meeting these families and meeting these people, then I wouldn't ever have got to a point where you guys know me who I am today as, the basketball player, but more importantly, the guy that's giving back to his community. So, I just give a lot of credit and a lot of thanks to my mentorship and, to the people who was just there for me.
I mean, because most kids don't have all of those families, all those coaches looking out for them. You decided pretty early that you were going to look out for the kids of Akron, even the ones who weren't good at sports.
Yeah.
And your foundation has done tutoring and support and all kinds of shoulder programming. But how did we get to a school? Because we are sitting in an actual school.
Yeah, how do we get to a school? That's what we all trying to figure out, right? I mean, you were around when it was just a 5-mile bike ride.
Yeah.
When we was doing the bike-a-thon. And I think it just shows growth from me as a basketball player as well. From the bike-a-thon to who I am today as a basketball player, and it shows the growth, throughout our foundation of how we can continue to get better and better and better, and kind of just like not having a ceiling. I don't have a ceiling to how much I can improve on my game, and we as a foundation don't have a ceiling how much we can improve our community and to a point where we have a school. Like we literally have a school. It's not a charter school. It's not a private school. It's a real life school. In my hometown, and this is pretty cool.
I mean,
it's pretty cool.
Crazy to sit around
absolutely
and look around here. One thing that caught my eye beyond just all the academic stuff is the kids here will go here for longer school year and also longer day. They stay here until 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Partly just so they're in this supported system and not out in the world as much.
Absolutely.
The other thing was food, is that if a kid is hungry, it's hard to learn. So you are giving these kids breakfast and lunch and a snack.
And a snack.
How important is that?
I think, first of all, fueling the body, keeps the mind sharp. And I remember I was a kid, my attention span, I mean, listen, you can have me for a little bit, but you have to keep me engaged. And I think obviously fueling these kids and giving them food, a breakfast, a lunch, a snack, but just keeping them here under our support, keeping them here under our guidance, giving them objectives and criteria that they can match and not feel stressed and feel like they're family. That's what we want to create. We want to create an environment of family and not like a workplace. Sometimes you can get tired of kind of like, if you look at it as work, you kind of get tired of it. We want to create an environment of family where you want to always be around your family, no matter the goods and the bad. You always want to be around that support system. So, that's what we're creating here.
So earlier this year, you were instructed to shut up and dribble, which is amazing because if you had listened to that, we would not be sitting in this school that 300 kids are getting the benefit of.
Absolutely.
But I want to backtrack off that because those comments came because you were critical of the president.
Right.
And I wanted to know why, while you do things like this, it's also important to you to use your voice to stand up for kids like that, even as high as criticizing the president of the United States.
Well, for me, I have a voice, I have a platform, and I have so many kids, and not only kids, but also adults and everybody that kind of look for guidance and look for someone to kind of lead them in a time where they feel like their voice isn't powerful. And when you see something that's unjust, or you see something that's wrong, or you see something that's trying to divide us as a race or as a country, then I feel like my voice can be heard and can speak volumes. And especially coming from a point of sports. You know, I live in sports. You know, without sports, we wouldn't be all here. I wouldn't be talking to you, Rach. You wouldn't be interviewing me. And you know, sports is like, it stops race. Every race comes together to fight for one common goal, and that's to win and to have fun and to have camaraderie and things like that. And for someone or a body of parties to try to divide us by using our platform of sport, sport has given me everything that I can ever ask for. I couldn't let that happen. By using my voice and letting the youth know, and the people that need the guidance know that I care for them, and I'm gonna be their voice, and it's passionate for me because, like I said, sports is just the ultimate, to bring people together. So that's what I'm here for.
Can we expect you to be active going up to the next election like you were in the last one?
I'm here. I'm here. I already got my suit, right? My glasses right, so.
We've had athletes run for office. This is sort of a public policy thing you're doing right here at this school.
It is, but I may stick to coaching for a little bit.
Okay, your AAU coach,
my
successful?
AAU,
Okay.
2 tournaments, two national championships. I'm feeling really good about my situation.
Can I ask you about your other job, the whole basketball player thing?
Yeah,
Should we
absolutely,
get to that a little bit?
of course.
Because, you've made a huge change, and you have talked about how the weight and idea of helping this historic Lakers franchise that you looked up to big names like the Lakers and the Cowboys and the Yankees and stuff as a kid, bringing that franchise back to championship level is this exciting goal for you.
Yeah.
I want to know why you picked that over going to a team that was closer to winning a championship now, because those are two different things.
Oh, absolutely, and I definitely thought long and hard about the possibilities of line up alongside Ben and Embiid, or line up aside, Harden and Chris. I felt like at this point in my career, the ultimate for me, just like when I went to Miami, everyone kind of looks at me joining a super team. But if people look at, I think Miami was 35 and 47, the year before I joined that team. And you can look at the Lakers, a record from. So I like the challenge. I like the challenge of being able to help a team get to some places that they haven't been in quite a while. And obviously the Lakers haven't made the playoffs in a few years, but the Lakers organization and the historical franchise matches up there with all the greats. You can look at, the Cowboys, and you can look at the Patriots. You can look at Manchester United, Boston Celtics. These are like historical franchises, and for me to be a part of that, it just, I think it's a great moment for not only me, but for my family and for the history of basketball in general.
When you look at that roster, though, you're not just the only elite player on it. You're the only all-star on there. You could have told the Lakers, hey, I do want to come, but please do what it takes to get Kawhi Leonard here, too. So this year can already start to be building toward that. Why didn't you want to do that?
Because I love the young guys that they have. And, I'm not trying to force my hand in no way, shape, or form. I believe Rob and Magic and Jeannie has done an unbelievable job of kind of reshaping what the organization should be in the last few years on, keeping Dr. Buss, his dreams and what he was all about, to keep that going. So I feel like they know what's best for the team, and I wanted to be a piece to kind of continue that, continue that motion and being back, to a championship franchise where they should be.
There's one guy who could have come with you that would have kept those young players there too, Paul George. What were your conversations with him before he decided to stay with the Thunder?
I didn't have many conversations with Paul, and I think Paul did what was best for him. And I think that's what everybody should do as players. They should do what's best for them and their family. Shouldn't get too pressured by anybody. If there's someone that they want to play with and they have the opportunity to do it, then go for it. But obviously, I think we all see that he made the best decision for himself and his family.
Now, the Lakers have signed other free agents since you. It has raised some eyebrows. You have a guy who's a Shaqtin' a Fool MVP. You have a guy who wears the wristwatches on his ankles. You have someone who likes to blow in other players' ears, namely yours. Why should people not be skeptical of this roster? Because
we just got guys who love to play basketball. At the end of the day, guys that love to play ball and that's what they do every single day. I love that. And I think Pelinka and Magic loved it, as well, and that's why they made the signings and bringing Lance and JaVale and Bees and Rondo, guys that just every day they wake up, they think about the game of basketball, and everything else is secondary. So we look forward to all the challenges, and I mean, eyebrows is always going to get raised when my name is involved anyway, so it shouldn't even be a surprise.
And look, a lot of these are one-year contracts. The Lakers have talked about wanting that flexibility still for next summer. A lot of big free agents could be available then. You're turning 34 this season, though. How do you feel about the idea that what could be one of the last years of your prime is going to be more of a building year?
I don't even look at it like that, because I don't feel like this is one of the last years of my prime. I think that's another statistic number, and I've always been a part of beating the odds in life. So being around my kids it gives me even more and more time in my youth. So I don't feel like this is even a rebuilding year for us. We have an opportunity to do something that a lot of people don't think we can do, and we love the notion of it. It's another rebuilding year, and we don't have enough. So that will motivate the guys that we have anyways.
I mean, look, the reason why people are saying, I don't know where the Lakers are going to end up, is because the Western Conference is really tough.
Absolutely.
It's one of the deepest it's been in a while. You haven't played in the West before. Have you really thought through, okay, I'm going to be on my fourth 4-hour flight of the week, stuff you didn't do back in the East, and what if it's February and we don't have a winning record? Have you thought through if things are grim before they get great?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's all part of the mindset. I mean, there's going to be times of us being a young group, meaning playing together, that we're going to have times where it doesn't look like what we would think. There's going to be times where guys are going to question what's going on, and that's just human nature. I understand that, but I've always been a part of it. I know a lot about the ups and downs of a season, and one thing we can't do is lose focus on what the main goal is, and the main goal is to continue to, be as great as we can be every day, build championship habits, and not even saying that we're a championship team now, but building championship habits to when we get to that point, we can fall back on something. So we have a great young core, we have a great veterans, we have a great system, and a great organization, more importantly. So it should be fun.
And you've made a long-term commitment to these guys, 4-year contract. How confident are you that sometime in these 4 years you will be in the finals again? You could win another championship.
That's the goal.
That's not my question.
Listen, I plan and I train and I set my mind every single day to play for championships. And Magic and Jeannie and Rob, and they believe the same thing, and that's what their goal is too. So when you're around people who have the same goal in mind, then you can live with the results.
All right, so that's your professional legacy. Your personal legacy is, of course, another story. That's family. That's things like this school. Mm-hmm. As you mentioned, your AAU coaching career. We've been seeing you around and with your son. Yeah. What has it been like for you to be watching him growing into this basketball player and dealing with the pressure of being your kid?
Yeah, I mean, it's been challenging for all of us, but it's been fun. I love it, because he get an opportunity to feel some of the things that I had to go through.
Yeah, but he's called LeBron James Jr.
Yeah, but the thing is, he doesn't. Our kids are so awesome that they don't even get caught up into it. No one calls him LeBron around our house. No one calls him Junior around the house. We call him Bronny. All his. Every day he wakes up saying, I got to make sure I look out for my little brother, my little sister, and be a great young man. Make my mom and dad proud, and everything else kind of takes care of itself. So, it's always pretty awesome to kind of just see him grow and grow every day, and then play the game that he likes to play, not what I want him to do. He loves to play the game of basketball and have fun with his teammates, and he plays it the right way, and that makes me happy.
And of course, it's your kids that you influence, but it's all the kids here in this school, and really a lot of kids across Akron. When it is all said and done, what is that going to mean to you?
Well, we get the statistics, and we get the names, and years from now, we see a lot of these kids go off and go off to college and start their own companies or give back to the community and things of that nature. It will make us all proud, and because that's what we're here for. We're a huge support group for these kids, and We just want everything for them, everything and more. So it's going to mean a lot to me.
Well, people keep track of your championships, so you might as well keep track of that number too.
Absolutely, absolutely.